Welcome, this is Shakti Carola Navran and I'm your online astrologer. So today I'm gonna do your weekly power forecast. So the whole idea with these forecasts is that you get kind of opened and aware to know what the celestial influences are in the coming week. And this way you would be able to surf the wave, as we say here on Maui. I'm living in Hawaii. So every child here knows that you can't really fight a wave, but you can learn how to surf it. So with astrology and life, it's kind of the same idea, that the more you know about the specifics of the potentials, so more chances you have to use those and bring it into the expression, the high-end expression you're looking for. So I still have a cold, so I'm a little sniffling and sneezing, so I hope it's not going to get too bad, but I didn't want you to miss your weekly forecast. So I had questions about what it means that I'm an evolutionary astrologer. So in evolutionary astrology, we teach about astrology as a system for freedom, a system to make high-end choices, a system to, because you're aware of what it is about, you can choose kind of the direction of manifestations you want those potentials to go. So everybody lives their chart. We all have certain transits and actualizations. The question is just, are we being overrun by them? Do we experience them through hard times, through suffering? That would be more like the low end. Or are we able to take those possibilities and turn them into an outcome we desire? So my idea with these weekly forecasts is to kind of give you an idea what to expect in the coming week. And I'm always trying to synthesize things down into a core idea. So it's not just astrological Babylonian I'm speaking here. So I really try to get it down to something very practical and grounded and earthy. So I'm a Taurus, so I think I have a knack to do that. So I am an evolutionary astrologer. So in the counseling practice I'm having, I look at the personal chart from the karmic and evolutionary perspective. And that will give you that choice I have been talking about. Because the more you know about your potentials and how they can turn out, so more freedom you have, where you want to take it, what you want to do with it. I'm also teaching astrology. I'm the founder of Master Astrology Academy. So if you really like to learn astrology and how to read a chart, you might want to check that out. I'm a published author. I wrote a book about astrology and healing gemstones. So at the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the gemstone I would recommend for the week to work with. And I just personally love gemstones because they're Taurian, they're practical, they're bringing in that life force into the physical world, and they're perfect in their crystallization and their structure, and they're kind of at that edge of spirit meeting the physical. So that's why I think it's a wonderful way to use gemstones as a specific focus or anchor to help us to move in a certain direction. Okay, so the coming week is dominated mainly by 3 events. So first I'm going to do a little overview, and then I'm going to go at the end of the video through each day and get you prepared to what to expect. So first of all, we will have the Sun conjunction in Pluto, which is happening today. We have Mercury turning direct tomorrow, and then we have on Wednesday the full moon in Cancer. So these are the main astrological events I want to talk about. So first of all, with the Mercury turning direct, you want to keep it a couple of days so the energy can really move forward. We can expect that the challenges with electrical equipment, computers, travels, interactions in general, all kinds of communications, that things are going smoother, easing. So in general, I would say if you had any plans and contemplated in the beginning of the year where you want to take it, what your aim, what your intentions are, that now is a good time to take concrete action steps to step forward. So when Mercury is retrograde, it's more like a revisiting and a contemplation time and getting things straightened out mentally. But then when Mercury turns direct, then we have the winds, the force in our back. So then we can move forward. So today with the Sun conjunction in Pluto, Sun is our identification, our conscious perception, how we take things in and understand the world. So Pluto is a god of the underworld, the god of death and rebirth. So these two principles lining up, that's a big deal. That's an invitation to surrender. It's an invitation to really look into your life and to gain clarity into areas where you need to let things go, where we are overly attached to something. And surrender is actually something I'm quite in contact with these days, because I have a lot of physical stuff going on. So of course, surrender to things we can't do much about is a smart thing. But then there are areas where it's as smart to take action, to move forward. And it's a sign of intelligence to know the difference, the areas where we have done enough hanging on and digging our heels in and trying to not go. And what a relief to finally let go. And then new things can come up. That's the thing with Pluto. When we have Pluto transits in our personal chart, these are usually times where we feel very challenged, where we need to let something die and go. And the challenge is often that we, first of all, we don't like to let things go because it's scary. So letting go is stepping into the unknown, into the gap. So the new is not there yet, but the old needs to go before we can invite the new manifestation or energy to join. I mean, just if you pour tea in a teacup, there's only so much the cup can hold. So at some point, when the tea is cold and not tasting very good anymore, it makes sense to pour out and empty the cup, and then you can pour yourself a new, nice, hot cup of tea. So with Pluto, we are invited to let go and trust life, that it guides us forward into a more expanded, deepened, more honest, more self-expressive dimension of life. So today is actually therefore a really good day to contemplate where in your life you need to do that. Where do you want to need to let go? Mm-hmm. So getting into the zone, that's actually a term Tony Robbins coined, I believe, and he talks about this. I mean, he works a lot with manager and people in management or leader positions. So he talks about that actually 5% of all really successful changes and shifts are coming from that place where we contemplate, where we are in the zone. I would say this is a place where we tap into the ocean consciousness, where the right and left brain is aligned. So, but I kind of like the term the zone, so I want you to get into the zone and create time for that. So today with the Sun Pluto, it's a good day to do that. And because it's gonna be in the orbit here for a few days, so this week is kind of under that energy flow of contemplation, of going inwards, being really deeply honest and truthful with yourself, and making the changes in your life you're invited to. And what's helpful when we are in the zone, when the brain is balanced, when we have the access to the ocean consciousness, is that we have more receptivity for our own inner guidance system. So this is where I come to the full moon in Cancer happening. So when we are a wave in the ocean, and the top is related to consciousness expressed by the sun, the belly of the wave connects to the moon, and the ocean connects to all that is divine, God, ultimate consciousness. So I just call it the ocean consciousness, because we don't have so many projections onto that as if I would call it God. So our own guidance system comes either from our own unconsciousness, which is created from past life memories, childhood memories, just things, all the information we have gathered over lifetimes as a soul, and which is guiding us, but we're often not really aware of why that is and what's happening exactly. So actually, to connect more with the emotions in the belly of our wave, that is very helpful, because according to Abraham Hicks, this is really our guidance system we came in with. So if our emotions, our feelings are good, it means we are in the right flow. And if we don't feel good, if we're suffering, if we're in pain, we could say something is not in the flow, so you might need to adjust something. So whatever it takes for you to tap into that zone, into your guidance system, into your own unconsciousness, into the deeper morphogenetic field of the ocean. Some people do it through dancing, painting, singing, listening to music, and of course meditation, or being out in nature. These are all valid ways to tap into that clarity, to connect with your higher self, your individual true guidance. So when you are more aware that you need to do that in your life, then of course the question arises, what can you do to raise your frequency, to feel better? And this is where we need to make adjustments. So what do you do to experience fun and joy and raise your frequency, your emotions? So when we feel really in pain, suffering all the way down here, then of course we can't expect to make it all the way over here, but usually there are ways we can focus on something different, we can interrupt the patterns, or is there something we can do to make ourselves to feel a little bit better, and then a little bit better. So many of us, we don't even have that attention that there is a way that we can take responsibility and take charge and do things to make ourselves feel better. So that's kind of the question this week presents. How can you raise your frequency? How do you do it to feel better? So for me, I'm a Gemini rising, so I'm a voracious reader. So reading for me is my way to feel better. So I love fantasy and science fiction, so I dive into this very fantastic, different worlds, and I get a lot of pleasure out of that. So some people do it going out, being in nature. So it's different for everybody. Exercising, which for me as a Taurus is not my favorite thing. I mean, I do it, but I wouldn't put it on my list of joyful activities. Maybe I just haven't found the right exercise to do. But anyway, it's very helpful if you know and find out what is it really for you, how you can raise your frequency. Okay, let's see what's going on here every day. Well, another thing, we have the moon, of course, moving through the different signs, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo this week. And we also have a Venus conjunction with Neptune on January 12th. And we have Mercury entering Capricorn. So it's moving forward again. So now it's entering a new sign. Okay, let's start with Monday. So no, Sunday the 8th. So Mercury turns direct. Big deal, we have been waiting for that, so things are expected to move smoother. Also the moon enters Gemini. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so it's going to be a real kick-off for that energy of understanding things coming together in your mind. Maybe you have a crucial conversation with somebody, or you meet somebody, you have some important information exchange, something like that. So playfulness, a curiosity starting you into the week. Monday the 9th, Moon squares Venus, Neptune and Mars. So they're all in Pisces. So Moon, Venus squaring happens actually quite often because the moon is so fast, but it's always kind of an invitation to really connect with our inner femininity, our inner dimension of ability to attract and reflect back into life. So Neptune is always a big channel opening up into the unconsciousness, the collective unconsciousness, the morphogenetic field, as I like to call it. And Mars in Pisces, we have discussed last week, is a very subtle, sweet energy flow of things. It is an invitation to really connect with what's most passionate and joyful for you to do in your life and with your life. So whenever the moon is connecting with those principles, it gets all filtered through our own emotions. So as I said before in my little intro, the emotions are your guidance system. So that's why we take so much attention and make sure that we know where the moon is at any given time, because we will become more aware what's our personal emotional set point and where do we, for example, pick up from other people's energy fields. Okay, Tuesday, moon enters Cancer, so it enters its own sign and squares Chiron. So that's always a day where we are invited to pay attention to healing, to be self-empowered, that we are really the one who can do the healing. That's the story of Chiron. He was a wounded healer, and then he managed to poison himself, and he was an immortal, so he couldn't die. So he had to deal with it. If you can't die, you can't get out of a situation, you need to deal with it. And at the end of the day, he did heal himself and became then known as the compassionate healer, the wounded, more compassionate healer who out of his own experience had so much more to give. So Tuesday is a good reminder that you are a very nurturing soul, moon in Cancer. We all have a lot to give, and it's very helpful to really create a life where we have areas we contribute consciously, where we volunteer our time, where we do something with our individual gift in the world. So that's the Tuesday. Then the Wednesday. So Wednesday, moon opposes Pluto. And remember, we started out with the Sun conjunction to Pluto today. So Wednesday will be a very Plutonic day. So whatever is being starting to cook today might come to a head on Wednesday. That it might become suddenly very clear where you need to let go of something, or just surrender and pray for guidance. I mean, really imagine if we only identified with the top of the wave, 5 to 10% of our individual wave consciousness. That's not too much. So we really always need to take an effort to connect to a deeper level of consciousness, to receive the guidance from dimension where we do know. Okay, Thursday. That's a full moon day. Also Mercury enters Capricorn and Venus conjuncts Neptune. Sorry, So I made a whole video just about the full moon, so you might want to check that out. Full moon is always kind of a flowering of what started under the new moon, so things become emotionally very conscious, very available to us. And then the Mercury in Capricorn, Mercury is very clear in Capricorn, very organized, takes action, organizes himself and what he wants to do. Also later that day, the moon enters Leo. So moon in Leo is very creative, very expressive, very passionate, it's fiery, it's out there. So which really shifts the energy. So the full moon is still in Cancer, which is very inwardly and vulnerable and sweet and gentle-hearted. And then the moon steps in the late afternoon into Leo, and then it's all expressive and out there. So that will be quite a shift of energy in the same day there. Friday, moon still in Leo. So for Friday, you could really think about something very special you want to create and express and do. And Leo is the king, the queen, standing on the stage of life, having found a certain voice, a certain self-expression. So Friday is a good day for you to think about what that could be for you. Mm-hmm. Also, if you're working 9 to 5, it's the last day of the week, so it might carry over into the weekend to do something extra special, extra expressive, to surf the wave of optimism here. And then next Saturday we see each other again, and the moon enters Virgo. So Virgo is the sign where we need to make friends with the gap with the high vision we're holding and the place we are. And Virgo can become very self-critical if she takes the gap, the not being there, personal, and turns it against herself. So high-end Virgo always acknowledges, yes, there is a higher vision I'm holding and I'm moving towards that. But the vision will move upwards too. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think for Virgo it's just a realization that you will never be the perfect person you envision yourself to be. But you can take steps to grow and learn and get better, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So also Moon and Virgo kind of brings the same message here to the table of it makes us feel good if we can contribute, if we can help others, if we bring our unique gift to the world. So Virgo, we look at the sign of the servant. So that's a wonderful thing to hold in the back of your mind for the coming weekend then. Okay, please write me down your questions if you have any. So for now I want to shift over to the gemstone for the week. So this is an Apophyllite. Apophyllite is a light green, beautiful, subtle, gentle-hearted stone. And I wrote the book about what gemstones you can use to support aspects in your chart. So the Apophyllite, I wrote that it has a signature of Venus, Moon, Jupiter, Neptune and Chiron. So how wonderful is that? So it's a very feminine stone, Moon and Venus. It's a stone for the healer in us. It helps us to heal and it connects with the heart chakra. So this is where we hold a lot of wounds from childhood in this lifetime, but even prior lifetimes. So imagine the heart chakra is the middle chakra between the upper chakras where we bring in the energy and the three lower chakras where we connect more with the earth and the grounding and the manifestation. So the heart is kind of that alchemical place where that transformation from pure ideas and energies happens into doing something with those. So this is a stone, we could say, which connects us to the morphogenetic field, or to, some people call it Christ consciousness, which I do associate with this stone, because it really opens the heart chakra into those beyond dimensions, the dimensions where we know we are more than just that individual wave, or even just the tip of the wave. So true healing always happens when we shift our identification points deeper into widening our perspective. And where the wave meets the ocean, this is where actually enlightenment happens. We still are a wave, but we are no longer only identified with that. So the Apophyllite can go a long way to help you to consciously use that stone to refocus and to turn towards that dimension. When you work with gemstones, it's always very powerful to either just wear them in your field. If you have a piece of jewelry, you can lay down and meditate with them, just put them on your body. So you could put it on your third eye or on your heart. The third eye I kind of like, but that might be my Gemini rising, because I do get a very direct connection to the spirit of the stone. So it's a good way to really find out what a specific gemstone is doing by meditating with it. But you can basically put gemstones anywhere on your body. Of course, the chakras are kind of the main energy transformers. So you could lay down on your bed and put all kinds of crystals and color stones according to the colors onto your body and chakras. And it's a very easy way to meditate, because the gemstones make sure that your energy body pretty immediately, aligns itself into a perfect frequency. So that's why for us Westerners we often have a hard time to meditate, because the moment we slow down, our monkey mind goes crazy. So gemstones will really help to slow down and tap into that bigger field of ocean consciousness. So yeah, if you have access to it, there are not out there a lot, because they closed the mine it was produced in Pune in India, because they kept raising those, letting go those charges in the mine, which would shake the whole city. So they shut down the mines, and there are just not so many available anymore. So whenever you can find an Apophyllite, that's a very special stone. If you don't have an Apophyllite, go back to our favorite, the Herkimer diamond. That's another nice stone to help you with this connection, with this balancing between plus and minus, and the duality we all faced with. Okay, so let me see if I have any questions here. Okay. All right, Apophyllite is hard to spell, Diane. I'm going to put it down under the comments when I'm uploading the video. I write it wrong every time too. So anyway, I just thought it was such a special stone. You might enjoy playing around with it if you even get it. So yeah, if we don't have any more questions, my dears, make sure you like my video, please. So that helps with the ranking. Leave me your comments. I will get back to you if you have any questions. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Make sure you listen to the full moon longer video forecast. And I see you next week. Aloha, namaste, all the best and many blessings.